All right, so Eminem has his new documentary coming out called Stands. And initially, I thought it was a documentary about, how stands affect celebrities and just like the mentality of them and just like how it's become an epidemic with like celebrity worship and things like that. Turns out that's not the premise of this documentary. The documentary is mainly just talking about how Eminem's fans were affected by his music and, why he's important to them, which is cool. Like, I'll still check it out, like, when it comes out at the end of the month, I think August 27th or something. But yeah, I'm just like, oh, I was a little disappointed that wasn't the premise they went with. I even took the premise of, how Eminem stands affect him, like, just because that would have been an interesting take. But, I'm a fan of Eminem, so I already know Eminem's life. I don't need to go through all that. Not a stan. I'm a fan. Who are the worst stands? Like, what's the ranking of the worst stands, from like top 5 or something like that? Like, where does each one, who's on the list and where do they rank? And I had some free time and just wanted to do something, so I made a list. Now, for those of you who don't know, a stan is an overzealous or obsessive fan of a particular celebrity. It was coined back when Eminem made this song in 1999 or 1998, whatever, called Stan, about a stalker fan. So I'm not talking about fans. I'm not talking about someone who admires and enthusiastically supports a particular person, company, product, or brand. Like people that like John Legend. John Legend ain't got no stans, but John Legend has a lot of fans. Also, disclaimer, every stan that is on my list are stands of people who are actually very talented and have brought many creative ideas to the world, and they got hits and they deserve to be where they are. We ain't talking about if they're good people or not, so that's for another video. We just talking about their fans, the stands. All right, now that we got all that out the way, let's start with the honorable mentions, or the dishonorable mentions. First up, the Swifties. All right, I gotta give it to the Swifties. They just keep it to the pure love of this tall white woman right here. Like they just go out and support like crazy. They're like on a whole nother level of supporting an artist. Taylor Swift announces a new album every other month, and this group gets as excited as they were for the last album, like they were for the last album, like they were for the last album, and so on backwards. They keep it strictly to the love of T Swizzle. Like, they throw out all their money to her, any concert. All right, $1,000 for a nosebleed, that's no problem. Let's do it. And I don't know any personally. I just see them from a distance, but from what I can gather is they keep it strictly to the love of the game. They're not gonna argue with you, unless you say something crazy about Taylor Swift or something. Then they might, pop off or, get a little aggressive on you. But other than that, they gonna be chill. They just gonna leave it at that. The only reason they're on the dishonorable mention list is because they do all that support, all that talking. They sell out stadium after stadium after stadium, but they cannot sway an election. Next on the dishonorable mention list, the hotties. Y'all low-key enablers, and y'all need to address that. Megan's fans are interesting because they mainly just want to live vicariously through her, but they scared to do some of the actions that Megan be doing. So they'd be like, I'm gonna support you because, I want to do that, but I can't, but you know what? Yeah, go you. And basically support her to a degree to where it's kind of like, all right, y'all gotta call the girl out on something. Like, Megan's just a sweetheart to them who did nothing wrong. And anytime, her name comes up and something bad or something iffy and everything, it's a misunderstanding. They gonna immediately appeal to your pathos if there's terms of any type of critique with Megan. They gonna be like, well, she going through a lot and stuff. So, that's what they do. But at the same time, they don't show up for the album when the album drops. But yeah, the hotties are on this list because y'all loud as hell. And y'all not even like really investing in the person you're being loud as hell for. So what are we doing? And last for the dishonorable mentions, Bronnies, or whatever LeBron James fans are called. He's not even in music, but I just had to put him on a list just because y'all some grown men crying over this 6'8" dude. Y'all know all the details of LeBron James. And y'all be emotional on Twitter about it. So it's enough of that. Let's get to the real list. Number 5, Yeezy's Disciples. The reason this group is number 5 and not any higher is just because it's a dying group. Like, it's slowly fading away. Mainly because Kanye has tested the limits of just how far people are willing to follow him. And it's still a good amount of people that are following him, but it's slowly trickling down. Honestly, you should have left the train in 2018 with the whole slavery was a choice thing. But you know what? That was as crazy as we thought it was gonna get.
You was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
The people in this group are some of the biggest enablers you will ever see in life. As soon as you critique Kanye about some of the crazy antics he did, they are always willing to go to Old Reliable and say, hey, his mom died. Or the other favorite, he made graduation. Which personally to me, I like Late Registration better than Graduation, but to each his own. These people have Donda as top 3 Kanye albums. They also listen to Vultures 1 and 2 and probably think the earth is flat. Like I said, they're number 5 because a lot of them are slowly seeing the truth, and a lot of them are realizing that it ain't really it to be supporting Kanye West in 2025. It hasn't been it for like 7 years, like I said before. Number 4, Aubrey's Angels. Very emotional with very low emotional intelligence. They don't really know how to read the room. Aubrey's Angels consist of toxic people, women who just love drama, and men who are like, where my hug at? I'm talking about the red pill dudes. They got done wrong one time in 10th grade and they carried that hurt all the way up to their 40s. They think Drake won that battle last year. He did not. And this comes from a guy that has Family Matters on his playlist because that was my favorite track from the whole thing. Like, he did not win that. If you're dealing with an Aubrey's Angel, they probably lack accountability to a tremendous degree, and there is no sense trying to tell them their wrongdoings. And on the other side of the coin, number 3, the kinfolk. I was calling them Kenny Cats, but apparently they're the kinfolk, and I respect people's pronouns and proper nouns. So, the kinfolk come up to the stand. These are people that probably didn't go to college and they feel insecure about it, so they always got to prove themselves about how smart they are, or their favorite song is Not Like Us, so they've been a fan for about a year. In addition to that, these are also people that only listen to hip hop. They only listen to hip hop, nothing else. No secular music, no R&B, no rock, no indie, no alternative, no Tame Impala is not on their list. Some of them don't even listen to hip hop. They just only listen to Kendrick. Very self-righteous. They love staying on that high horse. They see no fault in Kendrick. Kendrick can do no wrong because he was anointed by God. They believe the Super Bowl performance is up there next to the March on Selma in terms of civil rights movements. You give them a Bluetooth speaker at the barbecue, they playing To Pimp a Butterfly, and not King Kuta or All Right. They playing the whole album. Ironically enough, they'll probably kill your vibe. Number 2, and I'm surprised this isn't 1, but I had to really think about it, is number 2, the Beehive. You knew you were gonna be on this list. It's not enough for them to like Beyonce. You also have to like Beyonce as well. That show Swarm did a great caricature of this group because some of them will even come up to you and be like, who's your favorite artist? And if Beyonce Alizé Knowles is not on that list, they will have an issue. You really can't reason or argue with them because Beyonce has made so many achievements that they will pull any achievement out to show you why you're wrong because, she's the only one really doing something right now. If you say you don't like Beyonce or don't really vibe with her like that, quick to say you hate black women. And you could be a huge fan of Ari Lennox or Coco Jones. If you don't like Beyonce, you hate black women. Everybody has to be on board with them because this is the closest thing to Michael Jackson that they'll ever get. They're so bad, Beyonce don't even like them. That's why she be charging $3,000 for a floor seat. And speaking of Michael Jackson, I made a TikTok video the other day going to that whole thread about why Michael Jackson is bigger than Beyonce. Video only has 700 views. Whole civil war broke out in the comment sections. Even Taylor Swift got some jabs in there. 9 a.m. on a Thursday, y'all arguing over Beyonce on a comment section of a guy nobody even knows. It's not that serious. But the Beehive's number 2 just because of the number of bees. There's a lot of bees in here. So many bees. But they do not hold a candle to the number 1 on the worst stan list. The Barbs. The Barbs are on this list just because Nicki Minaj can weaponize them at any time. Anytime. They be begging for Nicki Minaj to tell them to go out and get somebody. Nicki can tweet some of the wildest, most hateful stuff. They'll co-sign it like it's nothing. And the crazy thing is, if Nicki Minaj is right, that Roc Nation is an evil corporation, which it's a music company. So, of course, I'm a fan of Jay-Z, but I know like Jay-Z done some shady stuff. All music companies are, essentially evil, but that's a story for another day. If she's proven right about, the stuff she's accused of Roc Nation about, we will never hear the end of it from these people. If Nicki Minaj is right about Roc Nation, there is no type of normal conversation you can have with these people. No debate, no arguments, just be quiet and let them talk because they won. And if Nicki Minaj sicks them on you, then you're just gonna have to delete your Twitter or Instagram immediately and lock your doors, find a new hobby because who knows, they might be trying to find you at your house. The Barbs are low-key MAGA. Which now that I think about it, delete the whole list. It's MAGA. MAGA are the worst stand group. Video done.